Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wellness Tips for You Wednesday. It's a little bit later today, but I thought I'd try it out later in the day, and it's lovely to catch you again. So today I'm talking about food cravings, sugar addiction specifically. I'm currently running a free group, and it's something that we went into in quite a lot of detail yesterday. So I thought it would be ideal to share with you guys today, and just sort of go into the main causes and give you a few tips as to how we can help combat our cravings, because most of us have them, to be quite honest. And I've also got a free resource that I can share with you at the end, which is something that I share in the majority of my groups. It's a really handy short guide about the types of things that cause us to have these sugar addictions, and also gives you a few tips and strategies as to how to overcome them best. So really there are probably three main culprits. The first one is that food is actually designed to be addictive. The second one is that our stressy lifestyles don't help because they have our bodies wanting quick fixes. And the third one is often we're eating when we're not actually physically hungry. So we're sort of filling a hole. We're we're feeding our emotions rather than our bellies. Hi Claire, lovely to see you. So just going into them quickly. So basically, as scary as this concept is, there are people in white laboratory coats who are designing our food to be addictive, which is a bit of a bummer really, because it's tough enough anyway to try and eat the right stuff without having people actually design it to keep us going back for more. When people with addictions, sugar addictions, drug addictions, when their brains are scanned, the reward center of the brain that shows up when you're stimulated with cocaine shows up exactly the same for sugar. And whenever I used to hear that, oh god, sugar's as addictive as cocaine. No, it's not. But actually, it's been proven to be the case, and there are a lot of us eating way more sugar than we should do. And one of the reasons for that as well is the fact that a lot of the sugar is hidden. It's not necessarily our fault. Okay, yes, we have to take responsibility for what we eat, but a lot of us are eating food that we think is healthy for us, and it's not. And it's just the way the marketing is put in front of us. It's the way it's slick advertising. It's corporations, and I don't know how they're allowed to get away with it. It just drives me crazy. They can market something as healthy, and it's not. It doesn't make sense. The way you can combat that, well, the simplest way is, if it grows on a tree or bush and you can pick it off and eat it, you know it's healthy. If it runs around in a field, swims in the sea, flies in the air, if you eat meat, then you're pretty guaranteed it's pretty healthy. It's not going to have added stuff in it. Although frozen meat does tend to have salt added to it, so that's not good either. But it's the packaged foods which are causing the majority of the problems. Now, cereals and salad dressings are some of the worst. So I would encourage you to become little mini detectives of the food that you're eating. Anything above 8 grams of sugar, you don't really want to be eating it. And you'll find the majority, oh, it is corrupt, Claire, you're absolutely right. You'll find that the majority of breakfast cereals that are marketed as healthy are very, very high in sugar. We went through that sort of low fat fad, and actually healthy fats are really good for us. We need them. Our nervous system relies on healthy fats. I mean, that's another topic entirely, and I will do a Wellness Tips for You Wednesday on healthy fats, because they are absolutely vital to our survival. And they actually help you lose weight as well, strangely enough. But it's sugar which is the problem. And just become a super sleuth. If it's any help, the cereals that we eat at home, it's a bit boring, but they're oats. That's it. I have porridge oats, and I normally have them in cold milk. I use soya milk or nut milk, or sometimes, yeah, pretty much soya or nut milk. Oat milk sometimes, so it's a bit sweet for me. And I stick chia seeds on top, because chia seeds have one of the highest ratios of omega-3s, or they're one of the best sources of omega-3s in the plant world. So chia seeds are brilliant for us. Some people need them to be soaked because they can cause digestive irritability or irritation. So you might want to soak them overnight before you eat them, but I just bung them on and that's absolutely fine. Because oats have no added sugar. Now, other things like Weetabix, Oatabix, shredded wheat, although that is a bit like eating dried up hay. Yes, fat gets such undeserved bad press. It totally does. In fact, I might do fat as my next Wellness Tips for You Wednesday because it would follow on nicely from sugar. Fat is absolutely crucial for our health. Yeah, so oats, Weetabix, Oatabix, what was the other one? Shredded wheat, that sort of thing. All bran flakes, they're all fairly, they do have a little bit of added sugar, but nothing significant, and they've got a very high amount of fibre. So it's the fibre that you need. You want to make sure you've got good levels of fibre, because then that slows down the release of the sugar, so our blood sugars don't spike. The problem with all bran in some cases is you might get bloating, and can be quite uncomfortable. So if you're new to eating healthy fibrous cereals, drink loads of water, but also maybe just have a small amount of the all bran first. I'm not going to say any names, but just look at the back of the packets. Majority of them are way bad for us. Same with flavoured yogurts. They always say it's get the healthy fruit. It's not. Just have plain yogurt. You can have full fat plain yogurt. That's absolutely fine. Just don't have flavoured yogurts. Just add the fruit to it yourself if you want to have some flavour in it. And check things like salad dressings. They are so high in hidden sugars. Ketchup, tomato sauce, I should probably say. I think ketchup is the label. I'm not sure. Can't remember. Sorry. It's the joys of going live. This is real life. All the fat taken from milk is in storage, hence all the cheese on everything in the States. The low fat is then replaced with extra sugar. It is, and actually, funnily enough, cheese is also highly addictive because of casein, the protein in cheese or dairy, is actually really addictive. So if you're somebody who, you're trying to watch what you're eating and then you get the craving to eat a chunk of cheese at the end of the day, it's that casein. However, that's another subject, so I'll go into that another time. I'm sorry, my dogs are really annoying me. So the scary thing is, so let's just put this into some sort of very quick historical context. The reason we have got such an obesity epidemic nowadays is since the 1950s. That was when the first TV dinner, I don't know how they work out who had the first TV dinner, but apparently it was in the early 1950s. I think it was 1955 was the first fast food restaurant. And as a result of that, processed food became more readily available. We have busier lives nowadays, and it's so easy at the end of the day when you're tired and you're frazzled to think, I'll just go and pick up a takeaway tonight instead of going home and cooking it myself. Ugh. And that's what the problem is. Or we buy a microwave meal because it's labelled as healthy, but it's not. Even if it's like a microwave meal with quinoa or rice or buckwheat and mushrooms and onions and garlic and peppers and la-di-da-di-da and all typically marketed healthy stuff, it's also full of other things that it shouldn't have in it. So if you want to eat healthy, just make your own and just batch cook it in massive batches. So you've got lunches for the following day, you've got dinners for the following day, you can freeze it. That's what we do at home. In fact, right now I've got so much food in my slow cooker. I'm doing a slow cooker, sort of like roasted vegetable. What's that stuff called? I can't remember what. It does have a name. Roasted vegetables with lots of tasty bits and pieces in it, and I'll freeze the majority of it, and we'll just use it as and when we want to. But the majority of us now this is a bag of flour, so ignore it. Pretend it's sugar. The majority of us are eating nearly a whole bag of this a week of sugar, and that's just refined sugar. That's not the natural sugars that occur in fruits and other foods, healthy foods. So become a super detective, because what is marketed as healthy, it's just BS. It's not. Go for whole foods. Make your own recipes. And in fact, the resource that I've got that I will share with you has got some healthy recipes at the back of it as well. So also things to help you with your cravings. strangely enough, things like dates and figs. Now I know they're dried fruit, and they are reasonably high in sugar, but they're also very high in fiber and also very high in vitamins and minerals. So when you're thinking you're desperate for something sweet to eat, and it's either hit the cookie jar or have a couple of dates, have a couple of dates because it's way, way, way better for you than hitting the cookie jar. And also, yeah, bear in mind, okay, so who do you know says, oh, that asparagus was delicious. I've got to go back for some more. And who do you know can sit and eat a whole pack of biscuits without even realizing they've eaten it? It's because biscuits and crisps and the manufactured stuff is addictive. It's got stuff in it to keep us going back for more. So just beware of that. Another good thing is cinnamon. I add cinnamon to my coffee if I'm feeling a little bit sugary. If I've slept badly the night before, often, and most of us will crave carbs the following day. It's just the way the blood sugars are working, and our brain knows that we'll get quick fix by eating something that's fairly carb heavy and probably sugary as well. But cinnamon is really good at regulating blood sugar levels, and it also can help quell that craving that you've got. Dark chocolate is another one, above 70% solids. I actually buy raw cacao nibs. They're so strong, they're so bitter. It's not really like chocolate. It is, but it's not like the sort of the crappy stuff, particularly we get over here in the UK. It's vile. Yeah, dates and walnuts. Yeah, they are. And dunk it in an egg. That's such a clever idea. Your protein. Yeah, protein is excellent at helping curb sugar cravings and slowing things down. Um, but yeah, so what was I just saying? Yes, chocolate, dark chocolate. But just have a small amount. So if you've got sugar cravings, maybe if you like eating a slab of dark chocolate, just have 2 pieces and really enjoy them. Really, really enjoy them rather than just scoffing it and just. Beetroot powder also is really good for us. It's something that I use quite regularly. If I've got a real sweet craving after I've eaten a meal, I have literally a blob of full fat Greek yogurt or zero fat Greek yogurt, and I scatter goji berries on top and beetroot powder and a few raw cacao nibs. And that works every single time. And you could also add cinnamon to that as well. So, yeah, just beware of the fact that it's designed to keep us coming back for more. So if you really want to get on top of your cravings, you've got to start to prepare your own food, and you've got to start looking at labels. Essentially, it's a bit of a bummer, but you will get into practice of it. Thank you for the hearts. You will get into practice, and it will start to make a massive difference to your overall life. Your taste buds will get better at tasting real food instead of enhanced food. Just as a matter of interest, so half a tin of baked beans, the normal ones, not the reduced sugar and reduced salt ones, they have the same amount of sugar as half a cup or half a tin, the equivalent size as ice cream, vanilla ice cream. That's kind of scary, isn't it? And a glass of orange juice, fresh orange juice, has the same amount of sugar as Coca-Cola or Coke. I'm trying not to use brand names, but I don't drink them, so I don't actually know what the brand name is. So that brown fizzy stuff, which is that's quite scary. So just be aware of these things. The next thing is stress. So when we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol, and that makes us want to reach for sugary stuff and comfort food. So one thing you can do is to try and make sure that you sleep well, because when you've slept well, your blood sugars are going to be more stable. For those of you that drink, if you've been out on a session, you know the following day, all you want is bready, starchy, sweet sort of comfort food. And that's why it's your body saying, my blood sugars are all over the shop, give me this, and it's a quick fix. But again, that then sends you on that really volatile wave of your blood sugar spike, and then they crash, so then you eat something sweet and then they spike and then they crash. So it's kind of like nipping it in the bud. But as part of that, the freebie that I'm giving to you, it also links to free relaxation meditation. And I mean, that's one way you can relax. There are other ways, obviously exercise, walking out in nature, just getting a good night's sleep, being aware of your body, really, just being aware, lying down flat on the floor, if it's dry outside, go and lie out on the grass for a while. It's ever so good for your body and health. Negative ions, help counteract the positive ions that are sort of like swimming around in our bodies because of all these electromagnetic fields that we surround ourselves with. And then the other thing is, are you eating for an emotional reason, or are you eating because you're truly hungry and you need, you've eaten really healthy all day and you just feel like you need a sweetener? So if it's a natural sweetener, add have some fruit, or have, one of those things I mentioned earlier: dates, figs, dark chocolate, beetroot juice powder, Greek yogurt, blah 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 blah. Or are you eating because you need some emotional support? When I have the most lovely mum, and when I used to come back from school, often, she's a very good cook and very good baker, she would bake me an apple tart. There'd always be an apple tart. And I often used to have it with the cream off the top of the milk, because in the olden days, in our little milk bottles, the cream used to sit at the top. And I love it. Apple tart, honestly and truly. I love the flavours, but for me, it's that feeling I get with it. It's just like, oh, it's a virtual hug. It's my mum hugging me again. Every time I make apple tart, and it's one of my favourite desserts, I make loads of apple tarts because it makes me feel good. Not just because I love apples and I love the crunchy pastry. I love it because it it means it's my mum and and her love for me. So just beware of if it's an emotional need that you're eating as a result of. If that's the case, it is just about becoming aware of it and thinking, well, okay, I'm feeling lonely. So rather than hitting the cookie barrel, what else could you do? You could phone a friend. You could like if you're in one of my groups, jump in the group. People jump in the group when they're struggling. They jump in, particularly when we do like an alcohol-free free group. Yeah, we get antsy. It's just like, I really need a drink. So you get in the group and we talk it through, and it works. It helps. It's amazing when you've got people helping you. So that's always one thing. You could read, you could sing, you can dance. I mean, find things that really appeal to you. The other thing I think is a really good resource is to just Google it. I'm struggling with a sugar craving, and so many resources come up. You'll find people that you can follow on Instagram who are trying to ditch sugar too. You might find their posts inspiring, and it just helps when you are surrounded by people who are trying to sort of get off the sugar wagon or the booze wagon or whatever it might be as well. So the cream on the top of the milk, yeah, I know, it just shows our age, doesn't it, Claire? So yeah, it really is a matter of being aware of, are you trying to fill an emotional hole, or are you truly after something that is going to give you healthy sugar? If you're going to have fruit, err on the side of berries because they're so high in antioxidants. They're very high in fiber. Things like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. They don't have such a high sugar content as something like a banana, although bananas are really good as well. But you can eat more berries than you can banana, particularly if sugar is a problem for you. Funnily enough, though, pineapple is very high in sugar, but it's an absolute nutritional powerhouse. And in fact, athletes juice pineapples, drink pineapple juice, because it is so good for endurance. We use it as one of the key ingredients for our energy drink. It's all natural, it's all plant-based, and pineapple forms a large part of that. And even Ironman use it. So pineapple is, or despite being sweet, is an absolute powerhouse of nutritional goodness, and it's also very high in fiber. So it's a healthy fruit that you could eat. So yeah, just bear those things in mind. So I mean, what I will do when I've posted this, I'll put the link to the free resource if you want to get it. It literally summarizes pretty much what I've gone into. And then, if you ever do want to join one of my free groups, I'm running one right at the moment. It's a 5-day free group, where we are the first day we looked at, what do we do on the first day? It's already about healthy eating, and then good hydration, and exercising, and then the importance of sort of rest and renewal, and then the importance of our thought processes. So we're pretty much through that. I mean, we're at the end of day 3 now, but I do run regular free groups. So if you ever want to hop in on one that is a sugar detox group, or you want one that's based on healthy eating, or one that's based on addictions or alcohol detox, things like that, just send me a comment of the sort of thing that you need help with, and then I can make sure that when I run one of those groups I can let you know in advance, and you can join us in there if you'd like to. So um they're normally 5 days long, sometimes 7 days, but normally they're about 5 days long. So thank you for joining me. I hope it was helpful, and I will get this posted, put the link for the resource, and look forward to hearing back from you. If you've got anything specific you want me to cover in next week's, I will probably do healthy fats next Wednesday, but otherwise send your comments in and give me some ideas of what you'd like me to cover in the future. So thank you for joining me, and I will catch you soon.